Hey guys, so I decided to take a leap of faith and wanted to actually, this is my first official YouTube video. Long time fan, YouTube video car junkie like many of you, and I wanted to actually go and give everybody basically this is going to be a 6-month review ownership of my 2023 BMW M2. This is the G87 platform. Mine is a 6-speed manual. I've owned it now for about 6 months. It's not my daily driver. It's like a Friday weekend car, but lately I have actually been driving it to the office, and so I've got a good amount of drive time behind the wheel. So I figured this is a great opportunity to share with someone who's maybe thinking about buying one of these, is on the fence, isn't sure, to just give you my honest opinion. And more importantly, if I had to do it over again, would I buy this same car? Obviously, if I were in the same price point where you're looking for a, I don't know, it's in the $60,000-$70,000 range. So let's get to it. I guess let's go over the 5 things that I love about the car, and then 5 things that maybe I don't like too much about the car, and just give you my overall opinion as far as owning one of these. So the first thing that I love, ever since the first day I drove one of these, which wasn't mine, I actually got one on Turo and I had it for the weekend, which is actually a really good, I don't know if you have the means to do it and you have one of these nearby. I rented one of these on Turo for the weekend and I fell in love with the car. So the first thing that I loved about the car was the performance. The performance on this car, it's got great power. The car pulls. On the highway, this car really shines. Now, yes, no, it's not the fastest car. Is it the fastest? Does it have the best quarter-mile times and all that stuff? No, there's always going to be something faster. But in my personal opinion and my preference, the power to weight ratio, the handling, the fact that the car is rear-wheel drive, manual, you could slide out the rear. You just have a lot of fun in this car. And obviously the aftermarket, you could tune it, you could do a bunch of things. The platform is a very tunable platform, as many of you guys know. So the performance is the first thing that I would say is a highlight on this car. The second thing is more of the elephant in the room, which is the looks. So the looks on this car, I've never owned a car that is so polarizing with its looks. There's like, people either love it or they absolutely hate it. For me, obviously, I love the looks. I actually like the fact that in this day and age, BMW had the balls to really give you something very different, kind of boxy. The hips are wide. Does it have some angles that are not kind of visually appealing? There are some weird angles. Like if you look at the car on certain kind of angles, it just doesn't flow. But overall, I think the car is a very good looking car. So that's my number 2. Number 3 for me is actually the interior, guys. You can probably get a look here. So the seats, I don't have the carbon bucket seats on mine, but the interior is a huge improvement, in my opinion, from the previous generation M2. I thought the previous generation M2, and I'm not knocking that car, I think that car in its own right is great and an awesome car. But the interior on the previous generation M2 for me, it was really plain. I didn't like it. It was plain. It kind of felt cheap. BMW kind of just really didn't do well in that car. This car is a huge step up. Carbon fiber interior, the seats, the leather stitching, the steering wheel, just the fit and finish, the M colors on the side sill of the doors. You get your heads-up display. You've got all the tech, touch screen. The screen it's like a dual screen. It's all touch screen, very nice. So the tech on it is a huge step up, and overall the interior is great. The shifter, believe it or not, for those of you considering a manual, the shifter is actually really nice. It's got a very nice feel. I think it's got a good weight to it. The shifts are nice and smooth and crisp. They go in, so it's nice rolling through the gears. Is it as nice as, say, a Porsche or even hell, some Hondas? No, it's not at that level. But for BMW, I think it's a great improvement, because as some of you may know, if you've owned previous or older generation BMWs in general, those manuals are clunky. They're not great. I own an E46 M3, a manual. I also own an E39 M5, which I love both those cars, by the way. I love them, but those manuals they're not good. They're not great. They're okay. So the manual in this car is surprisingly, I think BMW did a great job. The last thing that I really like about this car, besides just the general, so this car for me, it's got a great fun factor to it. Good enough power. You can get yourself in trouble if you take all the safety settings off, and that goes to my final thing. As a lot of almost all the new M cars and just BMW in general, it's got all these M modes and things like that. So this isn't particular to this car, but I think it fits this car very well. You could take the traction completely off. You can leave the traction halfway on, so like they're setting 0 to 10, and you can graduate the amount of traction you want the car to have. So you could basically have fun without killing yourself. You could put it, I happen to always drive it like in the mid setting, so I have it on sport, steering sport, suspension sport, brakes are in comfort, but the traction, I don't take it completely off. I happen to feel like that's crazy. It'll really get sideways on you. I leave it on MDM mode, which allows me to leave from 0 to 10 allows me to leave the traction, like say on a 6. So the car will kick in once it feels like it's sliding a little bit. So those things I really like about the car. Some of the things that I don't like. So this is a weird one. Number one thing that I don't like about the car is actually the color. I chose this color. I chose Toronto red. I like the Toronto red. I just don't like the fact that it's got, in my opinion, it's got too much orange tone to it. When it's in the like daylight, it looks orange. People are like, oh, the car's orange. I said, no, it's Toronto red. They're like, oh, it looks orange. At night, however, or under the shade, the red really stands out. I wish BMW would have maybe brought like an Imola red to this car or whatnot. I know there's newer colors out there now and things like that. But so the color's kind of weird. It just, in some light shades, it looks too orange in my opinion. Number two, guys, this car is big and it feels big. That's the best way I could put it. I mean, this car feels big. When you're driving it, it's not one of these that when you get behind the wheel, it kind of shrinks around you. It does not shrink around you. This car feels big, especially for a two-door sports car. And I've driven the previous generation M2. That car like feels like you're in a go-kart. This car, no. This car feels big, so just kind of bear in mind that for me, is it terrible? No, but it does feel big, is the best way I could put it. Number three is the looks. Again, the looks, I love the way this car looks. However, there's two big gripes. The stance on the car, so the suspension, there's way too much gap between the tire and the fender, way too much. A lot of people online say, hey, it looks like it's an off-road car or whatever. I wouldn't go that far as saying that, but the car definitely could use lowering. That's most likely my next step as far as getting the car lowered. So that number one thing. The second thing is, from factory, the front, it doesn't look right. And what I feel, and a lot of people feel it's missing, is a front splitter. There's a lot of aftermarket options. I actually happen to have added a front splitter to the car, and it really gives it a nice touch and changes the look of the car completely. So it's just, when I say the looks, a car that from BMW, and it's an M car, it should come kind of set like that, in my opinion. But anyways, these are things that are minor and can be changed. The fake sound pumped in a lot. I think all the M cars nowadays, and for the last 5, 6, 7 years, maybe even more, I can't stand that fake sound pumped in. You're driving and you know that you're getting some artificial sound getting pumped in from the speakers. I cannot stand that. Again, this isn't the end of the world. I know a lot of the BMW M cars have it, and it's, you know, you can program it and get rid of it. The last thing is one that does kind of get to me, is the steering feel. The steering feel on this car is too light. It's numb. It's not as connected to the road, is the best way I can share. I'm sure a lot of that has to do with the fact that it's electronic steering and the new tech and things that I wouldn't know about. But the steering is just too light. Even on the most aggressive settings, you just don't feel as connected to the road, and so that does detract a bit from the driving experience. But overall, guys, to answer the question, or some of you may ask, if I had to do it over again in this price range, in this sector, would I buy it again? The answer is yes. The reason being is, for when we're talking about new cars where you're getting a warranty, you're getting everything for $60,000-$70,000, I just think that bang for your buck, there's not a lot of things that can touch this. I'm sure, you know, there's a lot of cars, there's a ton, but this car, for the price in which you're getting a lot of performance. And so there you have it, guys. Again, please be gentle. It's my first official video. I had to muster the courage for many years to actually do this. I'm not great in front of the camera, but thank you to all of you watching. Anybody has any questions specifically to the car, I'd be happy to answer on the comments or send me a message. And then the last thing is, what do you guys want to see? I'd love to. I was thinking about doing content on my E46 M3, the E39 M5. Actually, what do you think about a kind of having both of them do a highway shootout, and maybe third, fourth gear pull, see which one would pull, either the M5 or the M3? But thank you, guys. Thanks for the support for this newcomer, old guy but newcomer, and see you on the next one.